Vav. V'zeu Vayehi Beshalach Paro es ha'am. This is what it means when Paro sent the nation. Ki Paro amar lo yadati es Havaya. Because Paro said, I do not know Havaya. V'hu b'chinas oref achorayim d'ratzon ha'elyon. And that's the concept of the nape of the neck, the backside of the divine will. V'nikasam b'chinas ovre ritzono hanal. And they get this nurturance from those that go against Hashem's will, meaning to say the external concept of the Keser. That's where people who go against Hashem's will can get a nurturance, because darkness is like light. And He would send branches and spreading out and making fruit above. But that's an explanation of Paro es ha'am, meaning he spread out a nurturance to the nation. Shal yidei galusum b'Mitzrayim, meaning to say this is similar to the concept in the beginning of the Mamar of the planting and the sowing and the sprouting from that. So too the spreading out of the branches of the word paro, it corresponds to this concept as well, that through the sha'al yidei galusum b'Mitzrayim, that through the exile in Mitzrayim, yishtavdusam b'hem, and they're subjugating them, garmu shenisal b'chinas nitzutzi elukus shenafal shama b'shviras hakelim. This caused the sparks of holiness that fell there in the breaking of the vessels to elevate v'hu b'chinas hakoach hatzumeach. And this is the strength of growth that's in the ground to grow the saving of Israel and the Yeshua. And like our sages said on the verse that Paro drew close, and our sages said that he drew them close, their hearts close to their Father in heaven. Like we said before in Oshei of the Mamar, that the Torah itself has a measure, that Torah comes from wisdom, and this is the measuring stick, the spiritual measuring stick of Chochmah, which is called Cheshbon, like we said before. And through it enclothing itself below to purify the elevatable klippa shorsham olamato, that is its source is in the world of Toh, nimshach ba gilui oin sof mamash, is revealed into this level, the revelation of the infinite light, really chad v'lo b'chushban, the concept of one, but not in accounting. Like what we said before, that's higher than the counting. To enclothe itself within the supernal wisdom, like it says in the Mamar of Zachoras Yom HaShabbos, it says, Chochmos outside will sing, and this is similar to the idea of how the angels, that they're like the wild animals that are compared, the angels that are compared to wild animals. They lift up the throne of glory, that through the below you have an elevation to above. That upon the throne of the glory of the throne of the supernal chariot, you have the likeness above the chayos. You have the likeness of the idea of a man, shehu bechinas Torah she'alzen emanase adam mitzalminu. That's the idea of Torah. That on this it says, "Let us make man in our image." That the concept of the image of Hashem is the concept of Adam, as it is, as Adam represents Torah, like it's brought in another Mamar from the Alter Rebbe that it says Adam ki yamus ba'oel, that Adam is a concept of oil ashel Torah. That this it says Nasa Adam et Salmenu, will make man in our image, in the image of Torah, and this is the idea of lights that are enclosed in vessels. Ramach Pikudin, the 248 commandments, which are the 248 limbs of the king, meaning to say that again we're talking about an idea of Adam as it's measured. Tes spheros deza, tes pamim, tes hulu, which are the 9 spheros of their anpin, and 9 times 9 and so forth. But the chayos, the angels of the animals, and the angels like wheels of the chariot, that are rooted in the world of Torah, which is of Tohu, which is higher than Tikkun of man. They actually elevate and bring up the 10 spheres of Zeranpin, to be attached and tied to the infinite light, may be blessed. So the point is that the Chayos are able to reach the level of Chad below B'chushban, that Adam is the concept of Chushban, of a measure of the Kavamida, and the Chayos are Nosus Isakisi, because they come from the world of Tohu. Therefore, they're able to. And the Adam is mislabish and clothed on the chariot, on the throne, and the Chayos, they're able to bring it up to a higher level. The concept of the Ein Sof as it is not like a man. Like it says in the Mamar there, Zachor and Shamar were said in one statement. And this is similar to the idea here that Paro sent the nation Yisrael mitzad Atzman Shoshim Bechinas Kelim de Tikkun, that Yisrael on their own are an idea of the vessels of the world of Tikkun, of fixing, of like the world of Atzilus. And through Paro they brought their hearts closer, and included within them the sparks of holiness from the world of Tohu, before there was a king to Bnei Israel. So there was the king Paro before Israel. Bahem oros the Toth. So through this Paro, he was able to include within them the lights of Tohu, which are without boundary, Yisrael, higher than the source of the souls of Israel, Mitzad Hatzmam, higher than the source of the souls of Israel on their own, which are from the vessels of the 10 spheres of the world of Tikkun. Here, through Paro, we're able to reach the lights of Tohu, and this is to reveal within the Torah. Like we said, the Torah is the concept of Adam, which is measured, to bring into it a level which is higher than counting the Kavamida of the measuring stick, which is the concept of the great kindness of Atik, which is enclosed in the skull of Arichanpin, that you have the concept of the highest level, which is the skull, which corresponds to the level of Keser, and the Atik, the Chesed of Atik, which is enclosed in it, the Rav Chesed. So that's beyond the concept of man, meaning to say that if you want to have the highest level of man, the concept of Atik is higher than it, in a revelation into it, and the concept of the Torah is the concept of the brain and the skull and so forth. That this level is higher than the measuring stick. That the measuring stick is rooted as it is rooted beyond wisdom, as it is in Keser, is from the secret, the hidden wisdom, which is so to speak, within the brain. But here we're talking about a level corresponding with the concept of the skull that is higher than the concept of the brain. And therefore, it brings into the idea of Torah, which is wisdom in the brain, and the measuring stick, something which is higher than it. And so the mochas dima, the hidden wisdom, receives from the gvura, the strength of Atik Yamin, so we're bringing Rav Chesed into it, a revelation from above, the gvuras of Atik Yamin, the Rav Chesed of Atik. Like it says on the Birchas Kohanim that Hashem will shine His countenance towards you. How will not shine the countenance, and so forth. Ein Sham, look over there, that it talks about this concept as well. And this is the concept to jump on the mountains. The sages said in the Medrash in Shir Hashirim, Medalig al hacheshbonos valakisin, that Hashem jumps over all the calculations and all of the time when it's supposed to end and so forth. That it was supposed to be 400 years, but Hashem ended the exile early. The Hainu bechinas gilo oin sof mamish lamayla min hachachma, and this corresponds to the idea that the infinite light shines beyond the level of wisdom, that's where counting comes from, and measure, and all this comes from purification of the sparks of the world of Tohu, which is higher than the concept of the vessel. Like it says on the verse, the Chassidus explains the tzedakah that's spread out in Israel, which is the concept of the revelation of the Hafriz and Hamida to go beyond the measure, Lashon Pirazos Teishav Yerushalayim, or like the pasuk that Yerushalayim will be settled on its outskirts beyond the walls, bechinas bligvul, without any measure, umida uhamagbil, without any kind of confinement and measuring to how it spreads out. Vishi agilu zebi Israel, and it corresponds with the godly light that will be shined. Gilu zebi Israel into Israel. And this corresponds with the concept of the pirzono is read as pizor, to be spread out amongst the idol worshippers. That it's because we're spread out amongst the idol worshippers of the world that we're able to elevate and gather the sparks of Tohu of the world of Tohu. That they're from this concept of spreading out Hulu. The Tohu is this wild kind of spread out world in concept. Look what it says over there, that Esav said, you took my firstbornship, now you took my blessing. So this is a similar concept. The Esav represents this concept of the world of Tohu. And now he's saying we're taking the blessing, so to speak, we get the blessing from the firstbornship of Esav. So too, look what it says by the blessing of Yitzchak, when it says, I have the smell of your garments. So don't read it begadav of garments, read it riach bogdav, the smell of the sins, bechinas bali tshuva, which is the concept of the bali tshuva who make their sins smell nice because they did tshuva, shuhu bechinas makif, and that's the concept of a makif, of a light that surrounds, an encompassing light, because it is not a direct light that goes, but it's a tshuva kind of light that returns and surrounds. This corresponds with the idea of the levona, that this is higher than the idea of tzadikim. And this it says that Paro is the one who caused this through being in exile with Paro. That through this we merited the concept of tshuva. That is the greatness of light from darkness. And that's why the fifth goes to Paro. That meaning to say the truma is, so to speak, to Paro. When you have produce and you give it to, and you take the top off, you give the fifth Paro, meaning to say that its Paro is bringing this fifth level, maybe corresponding with the fifth parts of Kesser and so forth, or the level of Yechida and so forth. That's the fifth level, is the level beyond the measure in general. And like he says here, that when it says the four hands, the four measures will be to you, that corresponds with the four worlds of Atzilus period Sierra Siesh Keneged Dalet Osios Savaya, which corresponds with the 4 letters of Hashem's name, Shezeu Shorosh Shemes Yisrael, that's the source of the souls of Israel. Ach v'chamishi's leparo, but the 5th is the paro, Bechinas Dalet, delays small bayatika. I'm sorry, delays small bayatika. So paro is the concept of that there's no left side in atik, meaning to say that it's beyond the letters of Hashem's name, that it's this concept of keser beyond, and that comes from paro, from being in exile and purifying tohu. Fu bechinas ad yavor amcha avaya, and this is the idea of until your nation passes. And this is brought through tshuva. The paro brought us close. And this is why it says in the measure that paro on paro sent that it says that you've been sent and planted in a orchard of pomegranates. So the concept of Beshalach paro is the concept of an orchard of planting, like we said. Paraos and anafim is the concept of paro near v'charkom chulu, spices and so forth. Shem kol mini besamim shebechinas reach, which is the concept of a smell. Shezeu amshachas makif ha'elyon, and that's the concept of smell, is the concept of an encompassing light, that the smell surrounds you, like we said before by the reach begadav and reach bogdav. The concept of smell is an encompassing concept. Also the concept of levona, like we said here, is the encompassing, is what encompasses and gives life to the 10 other kisrin de misavusa, of the crowns of impurity of the Ketores. And this is also the concept of a vine is brought up, is lifted up from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, Shemash Knesset Yisrael Nasa Bechinas Gefen Yainam Sameach Elokim, that Knesset Yisrael, the souls of Israel, become a concept of grapes and wine that rejoices Hashem. So Nimshach Mitzrayim Ukanal, that this is brought up from Mitzrayim, that Gefen Mitzrayim Dafka Tasiyah, that is specifically from Mitzrayim, that you're able to bring up the Gefen and have Yisrael compared to a Gefen, Ostalad B'Perush Vayisem Li Segula Mikol Amim, like we explained before in the Mamar and Ostalad, when we explained the concept of Segula, treasure. How are you a treasure, Mikol Amim, from being amongst the nations? Ketzer Beshalach Paro Sheshalach Peros Vanafim. So we explained that Paro sent branches and leaves and spreading out. And Paro brought us close, just similar to the concept of wisdom. When it's outside, you're able to sing. We explained the concept of the chayos, specifically that what's below from the world of Tohu is able to elevate the adam on the kisei, meaning to go beyond wisdom and to go beyond cheshbon and measure. Medalig ala cheshbon, and jumping over the measure of Shampanav, and this is the concept of the Birchas Kohanim as well. Sid Karos Pirzonim explained the concept of spreading out that stuck with, spreading out into the nations. Al Gamal Derech Reach Bogdav, we explained the concept of tshuva from the smell of the garments. V'chamishis leparo, and the 5th level that goes to paro. Ad Yavor Amcha Avaya, we explained the concept of when your nation passes over Avaya, meaning going to that level beyond the level of Hashem's name. Shalachayich Pardis Remonim, we explained the concept of spreading out into the planting the orchard of pomegranates, mini besamim reach. We explained the concept of reach, of the smell, which is also a makif, a surrounding light, which is compared to the levona of the Hatorah. Very much because in Torah, Kinyan Echad, look what it says about the concept of Torah is one acquisition.